One, two, three, four.
All right, welcome back to It's Not a Sport After Dark. This week's episode, I want to talk about botting and RMT. It is a topic that I never really covered too much on the seasons of the show, but I think it's a very, very interesting topic, especially now that I'm seeing it more in action in Lost Ark. So the footage that you have just seen is all the bots on my server in Lost Ark. And Lost Ark is kind of the new premier MMO that everyone's playing right now, and it has a huge, huge problem with bots and RMT. Bots have always been a thing in video games. They're always going to be a thing, and they can be they're like a double-edged sword in my opinion, both positive and negative on what they achieve. They make certain things like tasks and items in the economy cheaper, but they can also make it extremely expensive, kind of ruin the experience. And the scale of Lost Ark right now, it's tipping more into the negatives than the positives. So we're gonna talk about that. I just showed in the footage, these are kind of places that bots are at, mostly in northern Vern. You can see them because starting area to tier one, and they are literally thousands of them. It's a very hot topic in the community right now. We're getting very long queue times, especially in the west, or the western servers. There's so many fucking uh there's just a ridiculous amount of them, and people are making a lot of money off of them and using them. So we're gonna talk about that. So first off, I've showed you the bots. I've seen what they've done. What they're doing. They're out here fishing, questing, leveling. They're out here trying to do these chaos dungeons. What they're currently doing on green right now. And what they're doing is they're essentially farming gold, and they're farming items and fish and all that, and then they're selling them. And how are they selling them? Well, they're selling them through the market board, as we see it right here. And you can tell that things are probably in influx right now, and you can kind of actually learn this as a lesson, the economy, because they're boosting so much money into the economy that items are getting inflated past what they should, past ridiculous amounts. Kind of similar of what happened during COVID with the stimulus checks. More money got injected into the economy, and now we are seeing inflation rising in real life, and the same things happen in games. You can actually learn, I think, a lot about economics from video games. So with further ado, we can go to gems, for example, and we can just filter them by how much some of these are being sold. Or a better thing, I think, is gear. And then they generally sell accessories. Ridiculous. Anyway, I'm having a hard time like finding them because of there's just so many. But yeah, you can see like right here, like these are not worth probably this much money, but they still sell for like a lot. And that's because of inflation right now, where what they do is they'll use the market, and they'll use mostly, I think, gems. See here, all right. So this is a very good example. This is a tier 2 gem, which is essentially worthless. It is worthless for a majority of players because players are going to be in tier 3 and they want tier 3 gems. And it is selling for 400k gold is the buy price, and why is that? So it's extremely expensive. Why would anyone want to buy this tier 2 level 3 gem? Nobody does. That's the reality. Nobody wants to buy this. But with RMTers, what are they doing is they're making you sell an item through the shop, and then they will buy it from you, and that's how they exchange gold under the radar instead of just mailing it to you and making them easier, more to find. They do it this way so they can do it under the radar, and Amazon games won't get banned. And this is just one example of this. There's literally thousands of these tier 2 gems going for like 1k, 90k, just ridiculously amount of gold. And what this ends up causing is that if we go back here and we look at engraving books, and we go by like the most expensive grudge, these are insanely overpriced and they're inflated right now. There's no way in hell I can get 20 of these books without RMT, because we don't make enough gold naturally from the economy, and all these bots are just injecting gold. So then how are people buying these? Where are people spending money? And I think really last primary example of this is that you can see how much blue crystals are worth in the currency exchange shop. They're going for 827 gold on my server for 95 of them. Super duper duper inflated. This price was like 600 gold maybe like 2 weeks ago, which was still super inflated. And you can see like how the price of blue gems just keeps going up and up and up. And again, that's just inflation because there's so much gold in the economy because of bots. Now, what do you do with all this gold? These bots are making gold. What are they doing with it, right? Well, this is when RMT comes in. So if we go to this site and you just Google Lost Ark Gold, for example, you have all these ads and all these sites of how these RMT sites essentially, and RMT is always a thing, but it's never to this degree where the profit that they're making from Lost Ark and all these bots is heavily outweighing the negatives, because the companies, the developers aren't really doing about it. And you can see that instead of going through the game and getting however much gold for $30, for $30 I can get 30k gold on my server, which is ridiculous. And then even like for $16 on this I can get 20k. So you could just get so much gold. And right now I only have like 50k, and that's from playing naturally. It's like semi free to play player each week. I only have about 60k. But if I spend $30, I can double my net value in the game through these RMT sites, because the profit and how much gold they're making is heavily outweighing, and this shit is cheap as fuck to get. So a lot of players are just now the high end are just boosting their characters by spending $30, to get 30k gold, and then they can just buy whatever the fuck they want in the game. And just to show you like how they receive this gold again is for here they want you to mail it to you. So for here they for this site I'm mailing it to me. That's the delivery method. So I type in my character name and they will just mail me the gold on the server. Maybe for this site, if I buy now, some sites want me to do gems. Okay, sign up. But there are so many different versions of these sites, and so many ways to get this gold easily, and it's becoming a problem, because what it's doing is it's breaking up the player base, where I think a lot of players will either gonna stop playing because the elites are gonna start gatekeeping players and they're gonna get really 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 far ahead, or we have situations where queue times will get very, very long because of all the bots, and then people can't join and they can't play the game, and at peak hours and hours they should play the game, things will just be super overpriced. You can't keep up. You can't be competitive in the game, and it's a problem that they need to fix somewhat. But I think it's a very interesting problem with economics, learn with all these bots injecting so much gold into the economy. This is RMT. It's been around forever. This is, I think, a completely different topic from what you could say pay to win, because it is essentially pay to win, but it's pay to win outside of the game rather than in the game. It's like in Genshin Impact, instead of me going through game systems, I can to get the items, which they mostly have to in that game to pay to win. I can just buy all the characters I want for cheap, or buy all the accounts I want for cheap off of some other bot account. And it's a very interesting that is happening right now game, and that's why I want to talk about it. That's why I want to bring it up. I thought it was a very topic. This very quick rundown of it. Of course, it's more complicated than that, but I think it's very interesting economically what is happening to this game. And I think if they don't fix it, it's gonna ruin the game with the next. I don't think they managed Lost Ark too well, as most companies do with like publishing like Korean games. The first game that I did this was Blade and Soul, and they also kind of ruined that game due to poor management. So I think this is very interesting, and they have to fix this within probably in summer. Otherwise, I don't think this game will last about a year. Anyway, that's it with this week for this show. I just want to talk about it real quick. I thought it was very interesting. The bots, seeing how they interact, seeing how what we're doing with the strife and the talk about and just show it off for a bit for people who didn't know. Your host, Salty Waffles, signing off. I hope you guys are enjoying this After Dark series. I hope you guys are enjoying these short little episodes and spiels about things on. Stay tuned. The E3 one, as always, that we always up soon. I hope you guys are botting out like these guys are, and I hope you guys are also having a time.